Welcome to qnawire.
Okay, so someone is going downhill at a constant speed in a straight line. Okay, so what does that tell us? That tells us that their acceleration is zero. Right, if they're going at a constant speed, then they're no longer accelerating. Right, they've got speed that's constant. Right, so for example, if we look at velocity, right, their velocity might be constantly negative, right, in terms of downward. Right, if this is y and this is negative y, they're going down the hill, for example. Okay, but it's constant velocity, right, which means acceleration is just constantly zero. Okay, so the question is, which will increase the speed of the bicycle? Right, an added force of 20 newtons down the hill. Okay, so if we push the bicyclist down the hill, is that going to increase the speed or decrease the speed? Okay, well, if we're talking about down the hill, that's like saying we're going to add some acceleration, right? Which should, right, increase the downward velocity, right? This will be the effect, right? This is telling us what the slope, uh, how the slope of our line is going to change, right? We're saying this force will become acceleration, and this acceleration will become velocity, downward velocity, increasing the downward velocity, therefore increasing the speed. Okay, that's one option. An added force of 20 newtons down the hill. Okay, added force of 30 newtons up the hill. So now we're talking about, okay, let's add some sort of acceleration in the positive y direction, meaning up the hill. What's that going to do to our velocity? It's going to increase the velocity in a y direction. Okay, now remember, speed is distance from this x-axis. This is speed just as much as this is speed, right? So if we're closing the gap here, if our velocity is getting closer to zero, then our speed is decreasing. Meaning it doesn't matter, like this is equally as speedy as this, right? But this is less speedy than that, right? Closer to zero velocity is lower speed. Okay, right? Speed is just velocity without direction. Anyway, if we put a force up the hill, we're accelerating up the hill, which means we're going to be lowering the speed down the hill, increasing the speed up the hill, and ultimately lowering our speed. Okay. So B will not increase the speed of the bicycle. All right. C, what if we add 30 newtons of force up the hill and 10 newtons down the hill? Well, okay, 30 up and 20 down. That's just we're going to basically do 30 minus 20, and we're going to have 10 up. That's all that's doing, right? Which is just kind of the same as what we were doing before, but less extreme, right? We're still decreasing the speed down the hill, decreasing the velocity, increasing the positive y velocity, or decreasing the negative y velocity, which is decreasing the speed, right? We're getting closer to the velocity being zero. Okay, so this will not increase the speed of the bicycle. Okay, finally, an added force of 20 to the side of the hill. So now we're talking about pushing, laterally. Will this increase the speed of the bicycle? And yeah, it will actually. So now all of a sudden we've just added an extra dimension to our velocity. Suddenly, right? We did. I'm going to do a top down. Okay. Initially, we had a bicyclist that was going, and this is down, and this is up the hill. Okay, they were just going down the hill. Okay, but now they're also going to be going somewhat sideways. Okay, by the time the acceleration increases the speed. Okay. And the point of that is that their speed, right, is going to take, it's basically just the length of this vector, right? So previously, their speed was this long, okay? We're pushing this direction, which will increase the speed laterally, and their new speed will be the length of that vector, right, which is slightly longer. Okay. Even though it's not useful speed, suddenly we're going sideways. Maybe we didn't want to go sideways, but the point is that we've increased the length of our vector. We haven't shrunk it at all, certainly. So in terms of speed, yes, it has increased. So yeah, A and D, both.